second keynote lecture is from Dr. Jones Bermeitinger, co-CEO and co-founder of LabMyTE GmbH, affiliated with Grion of Freiburg, Germany. With deep experience in the interface of science, technology, and entrepreneurship, he will discuss translating academic findings into commercialization.
Muchas gracias. Gracias por la invitación. Y vielen Dank auch an die Uni Freiburg für die Einladung. To not confuse everybody, I'll continue in English. And welcome to my presentation. I'm the CEO of LabMate, a startup that is spun out of the Freiburg University. And I'll more focus on the translational part, not on the medicine, since we're a biotech startup and not yet doing clinical research or clinical trials. But the application definitely holds the potential, let's say. So we're located in Freiburg. Some of you might know the city. If you are there, please visit us. We're there. I can also give you a better roadmap to get to our offices. This is our team, photo from 2024. And you may ask yourselves, what is LabMate? Well, that's the team, and that's the idea we're founded on. It's a patent that was filed in 2018. That's this date. And until it was actually granted, it took till 2021. So that's more just for setting the stage of the time frames we're talking about. When we set out with this idea of this patent, we actually were quite sure that it's a groundbreaking idea, that it has potential to change the world, to change research, how it's done. But yeah, it took time until we actually could show that, and until we could actually translate it into a commercial product. So we also heard about IP. I think in Hugo's presentation there was mentioned like 10 years from the first filing until the first commercial product that comes out of it. And we're a bit quicker, but keep in mind we're not medical. We're not doing clinical research or clinical trials. We're focused on biotech, which is also regulated, but less. In the middle of this, like, we had the idea, the patent was not yet granted, we started working full-time on this idea, and that's the crucial thing. I mean, I have a German background, and Germans are quite fond of security. So having non-secured IP to found a company on was a necessary step, but it was a risk. And I think that's one thing that keeps occurring, like risk assessment. That is not only our topic, but that's also the topic of our potential clients. I still didn't tell you what the idea was. So basically it's on the intersection between biology, which is in vitro cell culture for us, traditional engineering, which means lab automation for making results more reproducible. We've already heard about the reproducibility crisis. And that is one thing that also struck us. How many works are actually not replicatable in industry, but also in research. And so we thought, like, okay, the lab automation is there, but somehow it's not applied. Maybe it's too expensive, but maybe the data is not really analyzed in a way that it should be. So let's zoom in. The computer science part, that's basically the new thing that comes to the whole circle. The visual here is quite an early one, but I like it because it's it shows that AI over here needs these little robot arms to interact with the real world. So what we focused our idea on is having an automated cell culture system, which already is there. I mean, if you go to big pharma companies, they basically have automated labs. We also have the live cell imaging and the image analysis part, which is more or less a standard application in computer vision, also using AI models. But bringing all this together with an AI that can make sense of the imaging and then adapt the cell culture to have a goal that's defined by the researcher. So you can tell it you want your cells to grow, for example, patient samples, which is hard to do. Any primary cell is hard to grow in a lab. And having a system that you give a sample and you tell it, make it grow. That's what was our initial idea, or I should say it already was boiled down a bit. We had lots of ideas at the beginning. So this is what we started out with in the company. And of course we did first academic projects. We got funding from the state. We got also private funding to start. And these projects, of course, they produced interesting results, but they were challenging. And the key challenges were technological, because you basically don't understand how to do an automated system before you test it. You have to iterate on it. And these iterations take time. Of course, there's always a cost boundary, especially for startups. Time is money, and time is crucial. So that is one thing that I point out here, because it's mammalian cells, and they take a long time to grow. So if you have 24 hours for a cell to develop apoptosis, and you have to wait for 24 hours on the microscope to see that cell goes apoptotic, that's 24 hours that you spent waiting. So we needed faster systems to just prove these AI cycle, the AI loop. And data availability basically was very scarce for us. We had to generate our own data, because if you remember the loop, the AI needs to interact with the real world. It needs to get the feedback from the real world. You don't find that in published data sets. Very rarely. So, podemos subir el aire? No, el proyecto tiene calor. So putting this on our timeline here, that's basically when we started the project. That's more or less when we ended the second project, but it's the general time when we did these mammalian cell projects. We still could keep doing that, but early on we saw these projects will not deliver results in time for our goal, for the AI loop to be validated. So we were thinking academic logic. We had to simplify. The main challenge is data availability, and we need feedback from the real world. And we need the in-house data generation. The in-house is entre comillas, because it's not really in-house done, but it's in project. So we have a partner that operates the lab, that generates the data that we actually use for the projects. And for this data generation, we were looking for a fast and easy system for parallel individual cultures. Since you cannot speed up biology, you have to parallelize. And we needed a performance benchmark available. What we came up with was a project already in 2021 with Hochschule München, University of Applied Sciences in Munich. And it featured this prototype that was developed in the project. It's a machine for fully automated, machine learning assisted growth media optimization, or in short, AMLAMO. It features a microbioreactor called the biolector, an open transpipetting robot, some mechanic stuff that lets them interact with each other, and our software. And I'll let Frederick, one of our colleagues, do the introduction of the system. can also talk. So basically that's the lab in Munich where the machine is, and Frederick shows how to operate it. So it's basically the open transpiping robot that can prepare media mixers. That's one thing that I did not point out yet. We had to focus more. So we were focused by that point on media components. Having kind of the main thing that influences cultures is, in our opinion, the media components that makes up the nutrients that they can take up. Of course, there's not only nutrients, there's also proteins, enzymes, interleukins, whatever. But basically that is what we're focusing on, adapting a media composition to an intended output. In this project, it was the biomass that we wanted to maximize. So yeah, I mean, you can see how it works, and I'll shorten this because without the audio. So this is when the machine was ready. Beginning of 2022, we set it up in the lab in Munich, and these were the results. Like first try, we outperformed the industry standard by over 30%. And that was a validation for us. We were like, of course, yeah, works. That has to be interesting for the industry, for fermentation industry, for any biopharma. Like increasing your output by 30% from one day to the next needs to be interesting, right? Well, we had the results. We also published them. If you look at the times again, between having the result and having the publication in hand, it's also some time. But of course, again, we did not wait for the publication to arrive. We already started here to show it at trade fairs, to approach customers, and to try to convince them. And now comes that translational part. Like, how do you translate your finding to an industry and make them actually buy it? We tried. First, offering two things. A culturing service, using our machine, our prototype, in the lab in Munich to generate the results. The second version, a data service. The customer does the experiments, feeds them back to us, and we tell them what to do next. So that was what we showed at different trade fairs, and the idea was basically, or what we were telling there as a story, is for media optimization, you have lots of possibilities. Imagine the amount of stars in the Milky Way. That's 1 to 4 times 10 to the power of 11. Huge number. If you want to optimize a medium with 12 components, which is not that much, and have 10 different concentration levels for each component, you end up with more possible combinations for media composition than stars in our galaxy. And of course, like you will probably say, okay, you don't need to test all of these conditions, because just like selecting only one will not work. Correct, so you need something to navigate. And our picture was always industry is navigating with a paper map, and we can offer a GPS system. So the GPS system, that was our target. That's what we wanted to tell them. You need that. It helps you. Turns out we didn't do a good job, because if you read our titles, it's very broad. And comparing it to the GPS system, like fully automated media development for bioprocesses, is very broad. And it reminds me more, when I look back, we promoted a self-driving car instead of the GPS system. Of course, that was not that clear to us then, but it became clear to us. So we got rid of the either or. We focused on the software, and we now are marketing a data service. We got feedback from the customers as well, like they were not keen, especially pharma, to give us any of their raw materials or their cell lines. They would never do that. We know that now. We didn't know it for sure. And so that's what we now try. We simplify it. We try to tell them what's your benefit, and that is very crucial in I think in any translational research. It's not only like what I'm talking about is the academic finding to commercialization. That's a huge gap between academia and industry. But also within the academia, of course, you always have to translate from one field to the other. So basically that's where we are right now. We have our first customers. We have shown, and that is really, really crucial for building a product. You need to have track record with industry. And we have shown with CHO cells, which is, remember, we went back from mammalian cells to bacteria because we wanted a fast system. Now, we could do a project with the customer on their cell line on CHO cells. And we showed that our improvement with our algorithm beats theirs by 100%. So they have a DOE process, a design of experiments process. They use it for optimizing the media. And first try, we double their outcome. We're also working on fermentation projects. I mean, at the moment, it's all about building track record. To show new customers, this is what we've done so far, with real customers, with real applications. This is one for enzyme production. And basically what we did here is, it's a bit faint. The first batch, that's the initial round, like a screening round. The black line is the best condition from the screening, and this one down here, that turned out to be their standard media. And so we have two numbers here. We increase over the screening condition by 156%. We increase over their standard medium for this application by 230%. And still, like we're a bit puzzled because we got all these good results, and the customers are not jumping to us. They're not really interested in doing the next project and say like, okay, let's do more of this. And one key reason is the risk awareness. These are big companies, and they are really, really cautious to touch their projects and their products and their processes. So we show industry track record. We have lots of collaboration projects at the moment. And of course, there's also past projects listed here. But we still need to translate better to our potential customers what's their benefit. Why do they need to take the risk? I mean, it's always, you win or lose, right? You have the chance to win 100% more output. But what's your risk? Of course, the project could go wrong and you lose a batch. What's the cost of that? What are you willing to invest? And now, kind of concluding this commercialization of the data service, although it's not done. It's not yet a fully running product. But we're already looking for the next one. And that's basically, remember that prototype with the pipetting robot, the microbioreactor? What we're now doing is basically advancing this system to mammalian cell culture. And we're doing projects. Well, this is more or less a short summary of what we did so far. What comes now is the interesting part. We now, okay, I'll have to wait a bit. What we're doing is basically automated cell culture, and trying to do the next step. Not only increasing products with a data service or outputs with a data service, but actually monitoring a cell culture on a microscope, incubating it in between, having a liquid handling system to alter the cell culture, and then having the option of actually doing this AI automation loop. Because what we're marketing right now is a simplification of it. We're well aware of that. But it's a crucial step to do the next one. And this is basically, this is also a prototype that's being operated in-house in our lab in Freiburg. And what you can see here is basically, this. Again, why should you do it? We keep repeating that. That's our lab in Freiburg where we do it, and that's the workshop where we basically produce all the systems. And so what's to come with this system? What are we doing next? And basically, of course, commercialization for the data service that I showed is not finished. We now are big steps forward. We have targeted our customers. We know who they are. We have the product offering tailored to them. And we have a lead capture process, which is a completely different story. When you come out of academia, you don't really think about what sales, how do you approach customers, how many times do you have to write an email to one specific customer until he replies, and how do you do that kind of in a way to not annoy them, but to make them interested. So yeah, that's kind of in place. We're working on that, and we'll keep working on that. The R&D applications, that's the part that's interesting, I think, for this symposium, because that's where we really advance research and we prepare the next products to be ready to go into commercialization. And that's CAR projects, so chimeric antigen receptors on T and NK cells. There's projects in place already producing or doing the groundwork that's necessary. And we have one project that's rather advanced already. It's actually a follow-up project of an initial one, a little video that you saw, which is potentially a product that we can use for bedside therapy optimization. So using therapies that are already accepted by any regulatory body, and you just combine them in a new way. That's basically what we try to do. We want to have patient individual samples that you can test in a system and decide which combination of already approved therapies is best for that individual person. Yeah, I think time is a bit too short to expand on that too much. So I'll keep it at that. If you are interested in any of our projects, in any of the things that I showed or what we do in Freiburg, please reach out to us. My name is Jonas. You'll probably find me on the program. I also have business cards with me. Approach me if you're interested in coming to Freiburg, in visiting us, in collaborating. Let's talk.